Bienvenida y welcome to this wonderful evening. I think this evening, through these images and through these songs, you'll both have your eyes opened, but also your hearts, as you join us in learning more about the children in Guatemala that we serve. My name is Rachel, and I work with Safe Passage as the Outreach Director. And Safe Passage began about 7 years ago when a woman by the name of Hanley Denning went to Guatemala to learn Spanish. And while she was down there, she fell in love with the country and the culture and the people. And Guatemala is the size of Tennessee, with 12 million people that live there, 24 different dialects of Spanish that are spoken. And just the median age there is 14 years old. It's a country that's still recovering from over 36 years of war that left 200,000 people dead, over 2 million people displaced, and over 600 Mayan villages destroyed. And so when Hanley found herself in Guatemala learning Spanish, she was getting ready to leave the country and go back home after being there for 2 years and working with the rural poor. And a good friend of hers persuaded her to see the urban poor in the heart of Guatemala City. And finally, with a little bit of hesitation, Hanley went to this huge landfill, which is 35 acres large, in the heart of Guatemala City, and stood at the edge looking over at thousands and thousands of parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, and children, some that were only 1 and 2 years old, following behind their parents, scavenging for whatever they too could find. And whether it was that day that the dump found Hanley, or that she found the dump, I think we can all see that forever the lives that she touched would be changed. And what Hanley started began with selling her belongings back home and putting 40 children into public schools in Guatemala City. Today we have over 550 children that are receiving the opportunity to go to school. We have vocational training programs where children are learning metalworking, baking, carpentry, a hotel program. We now work with children that are 2 and 3 years old all the way through high school. We have an adult literacy program. We have a computer program, culinary arts, soccer, the one and only lacrosse program in all of Guatemala. And of course we have the wonderful growing program of English. And all of this is bringing more and more opportunities to these children so that they won't ever have to follow in their parents' footsteps and having to work in the garbage dump. And 6 years ago, when I was working down in Guatemala, I would ask these children what they would want to be when they grew up. And many of them would look back at me and say, I want to be a garbage truck driver, or I want to make my own tortillas. And this is what they knew. They only knew their surroundings of the garbage dump. And just this summer, I had the opportunity when I was down there to sit with a young boy named Aiden, who was 12 years old, and he still had his apron on from working in the culinary program. And we sat down to lunch with another friend of mine, and Aiden went on and on about making banana bread. And he went on about this banana bread as if it was the most complicated recipe in this world. And we talked for a while, and I said, you know, Aiden, is this something that you want to do when you grow up, is be a chef? And he said, well, actually I want to be a doctor and a chef. And I said, okay, well, how is that going to work out? And he said, well, I'll have a clinic that my patients come through, and I'll make them great meals and I'll cure them. And I said, well, fair enough, that sounds like a good plan. And we were talking some more, and I said, you know, Even all of the best chefs put a little bit of love in their recipes. It's one of their ingredients. And I said, is that something that you do? And he looked at me very matter-of-factly, and he said, por supuesto, porque si no, lo quema. Which is, of course you do. If you don't put in the love, it will burn. And those simple words I've had running in my head since July, from this young 12-year-old who said it so well, that if you don't put love in your life and what you do, it burns. And so I hope that you join us tonight, and I thank you for being here and participating in making a difference for the lives of these children, and letting them dream, and letting them know that they can do it, and that they can set their minds to whatever they want to be. I think you'll see through the program tonight that English is something that will help these children open up their worlds in Guatemala, and receive these opportunities to reach their dreams. So thank you for being here. With not much more of ado, I will introduce a great team that has put tons of their heart and hard work into making this night happen. So please put your hands together for the Newman Center Music Ministry.